Chorale. Let's begin by taking a look at the word itself. Notice, although it looks like the word choral, C-H-O-R-A-L, it has an E at its end. Therefore, the proper pronunciation of this word has the accent on the second syllable, chorale. This kind of composition is the backbone of Protestant church music. And before we examine it any further, let's take a look at both the Catholic tradition of church music and the Protestant tradition of church music during the periods that each of them began to cultivate their own distinct brand of polyphony. We began our exploration of Catholic church music by looking at the music of the Middle Ages, and during that time we focused on the music of the Roman Catholic Church. As you surely recall, the early polyphonic works of that tradition were based on medieval monophonic chants. We saw this with an organum of Perotinus. We saw it continued in a work by Machaut. And, in fact, that's exactly how we came to have a tradition of composed polyphony. Medieval singer-composers wanted to be able to show off their skills, so they took existing melodies, prolonged them to extreme lengths, and wrote shorter, faster moving melodies against them. Thus polyphony was born. Typical Protestant high art church music of the 16th century is almost indistinguishable from that cultivated by Catholic composers. And we see that the same thing happens today. Every time a new brand of Christianity comes into existence, it does not mean that an entirely brand new type of music appears, one that is specific to that tradition. When Protestant church music began to find its own voice and its own style, however, it proceeded along a path that certainly seems familiar to us. Early polyphonic works of Protestant high art church music, different from the Catholic tradition, were based on chorale melodies. So in both traditions we have an emphasis on an existing body of song that is used as the foundation for more elaborate artworks. There's nothing terribly exotic about the word chorale. Chorale comes from the German word Choral, which simply means hymn, and today the word chorale is used to refer to the body of melodies that are identified with the Protestant church tradition. Basically, take a look at those thick hymnals that you find in a typical Protestant church today. Such songs are properly called chorales. And these hymn books are very interesting to examine because usually at the top of the page you find the source of the music and the source of the text. If you were to examine a number of these melodies for both their musical and their literary sources, you might be surprised to see how diverse they are. In fact, chorale melodies come from quite a variety of sources. A number of them are medieval liturgical songs. So it's clear that the people of the 16th century, during the age of the Reformation and the founding of new branches of Christianity, did not throw their Christian musical heritage out the window. Some chorale melodies are based on popular songs of early centuries, 14th, 15th, 16th century and onwards. Some of them come from folk songs. And of course, others of them are newly composed melodies. If we had such documentation for the medieval monophonic liturgical melodies that medieval composers used as the bases for their own compositions, we would probably see a similar array of sources. I'm pointing this out to you because we're going to take a look at an actual chorale melody, and you'll see that it came from, or it was inspired by, an existing melody.